that is just now to the south of Hope. This is southeast of Hope, really, and it's headed toward, in the direction, the general direction of, I'll put this in motion for you. We'll be able to pick out exactly where it's headed. I think it's going to miss Bodcaw off towards the southeast, but moving off towards the northeast, it could eventually end up near Prescott or Redland. So take your tornado precautions. Again, the window for large, long track, significant tornadoes has really ended, but the window for tornadoes, just any tornado, is still definitely there. So we still are watching that. Now, this is going to cross 278 east of Hope here very soon. It's first going to cross over 32, 278, and the 73. It's going to cross over all of them. It feels like within the span of 10 to 15 minutes as it moves off towards the northeast. This section of the line still has a very strong embedded supercell that is moving off towards the northeast. Other parts of the line are beginning to stall out, but this line still has some forward momentum and it's moving up towards the northeast. If it holds together, we do think it'll impact the southern part of Clark County possibly, but the current tornado threat is just to the east of Hope and then moving up towards Prescott. And even if you're over towards Bluff City, an area that was hit 3 weeks ago really, we want you to stay in your, get to your tornado safe place as best you can. Barry, it's probably haven't done as much tornado coverage as we thought we were, but we still have a few storms out there that are spinning.
Yeah, indeed we do. And we're just looking at tomorrow's forecast and just rain lining up all over the overnight hours. I think that tornado threat will really start to wane. But our concentration is on the kind of the leading edge of this line. James put it very well. Long duration, long track tornadoes, I think, are quite unlikely for tonight. But we are looking at this whole area coming in. And so let's zoom in just a little bit more. Through Faulkner County and up into Clinton, these are not severe thunderstorm warned, just gusty winds through up the 65 corridor right there. And then we head back down to the southwest through Hot Springs and Hot Springs Village. You're under a severe thunderstorm warning. That will be lifting up eventually up through the Little Rock area. But the forward momentum of this whole thing is just really slow. And that tells you that it's just eking off to the east. It's going to continue that slow movement, and then rain is going to go over the same areas all night. So flooding going to be our big threat. And then there's another cluster of thunderstorms, and this is the one that has the tornado warning on it. And so let's go right into it. Hope, pouring down rain, some hail also, possibility there. The tornado warning is really a giant area, but the rotation within it is a much smaller area. Yeah, you can see the extent of this tornado warning goes all the way up almost to Nashville, all the way down to Ralston. But there's the broad rotation, and it's a long way from the radar site, so we got to assume that that is rotation, and for the sake of argument, we're going to assume that there is a tornado with it. This is from Shreveport radar here. It gives a little bit better picture. Moving out of Hempstead County over into Nevada County, which is our within our viewing area here, and that will move up toward Emmett, Highway 73, Highway 278 there that runs from Ralston over to Hope. And there is the couplet right there that will continue to move north of Bodcaw. And looks like this rotation will probably go for a while, be away from Prescott. We'll have to see eventually where it goes, but I'm going to just back it up a few frames and you'll see that it's still there. So eventually, maybe close to Prescott or just to the southeast. We're going to continue to watch it over the course of the time it's there, and hopefully we see a real reduction in the tightness of the away and the toward wind field there. As the tighter that gets, though, we have to really think that maybe, especially since this storm is out on the leading edge, that there could be some tornado threat with it.
Absolutely. There could definitely be some tornado threat with it, and that is the main storm that we're going to keep an eye on. Still a very strong storm with some rotation to it, and it's really embedded in the rain there northwest of Bodcaw. Going to be moving out of Hempstead County into Nevada County very soon. This is down in southwest Arkansas again. I know we have Friday night programming. Again, we apologize for interrupting your shows. We were able to, with the tornado warnings with the gap in warnings. We were able to get a little bit of dinner before the warnings kind of started back up. And the heavy rain really is about to start back up as well for many of us. The rain has really started in Conway, and it may not stop for a long time. The storms are really just lining up from southwest to northeast. And I know the storms are just to the west of Little Rock, but these really are crawling towards the east. And with this storm, it may not move much further towards the east as well. It's really moving towards the northeast. That may take it into the southern part of Clark County. Looking at the environmental factors, I just looked at the data coming out of the weather balloon this evening, and we still have quite a bit of instability. There's still plenty of moisture. I just feel like the significant tornado ingredients are dropping, whereas you could still get an isolated tornado at any point tonight. That's why it's important. Before you head off to bed, make sure you have a way to get a warning in the event one is issued. I don't think we're going to see a ton of warnings tonight, but we're likely going to see this tornado watch reissued, and it's going to go for most of the night and likely for the eastern half of the state into Saturday. We have this long line of storms that's really started to stall out. It's raining heavily north of Batesville. It's raining at Heber Springs. You got this line that's pushing through Faulkner County, and you have this big area of wind that's pushing through Garland County into Saline County. And the flash flood threat's going to go up with the slow movement of these storms. The power outages, I'll tell you, are beginning to climb. We've got 1,300 out in Garland County, almost 1,000 out in Sevier County, kind of where some of these heavier storms have tracked earlier in the evening. The lone tornado warning continues to be down in southwest Arkansas. The National Weather Service in Shreveport continued this warning. It's still a broad area of rotation there from Bodcaw up to the northwest. But as it moves deeper into Nevada County, we want everybody from Bodcaw up Highway 53 all the way to Prescott and Redland, anywhere in that zone. Just go to your tornado safe place, ride this one out. We had an indication about 40 minutes ago there was a tornado on the ground in eastern Miller County. That does not appear to be the case anymore. But still, this storm has a history of producing tornadoes. We want you to be safe, and hopefully this doesn't last too long. Looks like they are issuing a severe thunderstorm warning for Pulaski County. So we'll give you an update on the metro area, and I'll show you exactly what I'm thinking with the area of wind to the west. I think we're seeing some very strong wind in this area of storms, and I think 60-mile-per-hour winds not out of the question. Really is kind of moving towards the northeast. Look at there's just not much eastward momentum here. So it's raining at Pinnacle Mountain, Chenal Mountain, Mayflower, Conway. Little Rock and North Little Rock still have not seen hardly a drop of rain from this event. So I think this is really setting up off towards the west. Now, flash flood warnings are going to be issued for Garland County. The heavy storms just kind of parked over Garland County. So the rainfall totals, I think, in that county tonight could really add up, especially there and off towards the northeast. I think Mayflower, Conway may be included in that as well with the flood of moisture that is headed that way. So the rain is really just going to continue, and this is going to be kind of an all-night thing. But that's the severe thunderstorm warning. High winds possible. Perryville, Conway. It's just going to be a very stormy night. But we are happy to tell you the supercell tornado threat, where we had developing supercells earlier. We had a flurry of tornado warnings. Didn't really have much in the way of tornado touchdowns. Storms were spinning. We saw some funnel clouds. Didn't see too many tornado reports. We hope that that's going to continue tonight, but there's still at least an isolated tornado threat.
All right, James, let's take a look at, if we can go to StormScan. And I'm going to stay on that computer for a while. And what we'll see is still some mention of rotation as it moves into Nevada County. Still a tornado warning there. Really hard to see. It's a long way from the Shreveport radar site. But for now, we're looking at this storm out to the west, and James mentioned it, and that is just a big wind-producing storm. Look at all the wind that is moving up through Perrin. It's moving in a broad area from Perryville to Conway to Mayflower, the western part of Pulaski County, and that is just, it's going to continue. I'm going to go back in time just a little bit there and show you. It's going to be moving up to the northeast, and we just are waiting on rainfall here in the Little Rock area. It doesn't mean that our severe weather threat shuts off when it starts raining, because obviously it's been raining some in Conway and points out to the west, but there have been multiple rounds of rain Hot Springs getting another just heavy dose of rainfall right now. Not much in the way of velocity there. There's some gusty winds. I think the leading edge, though, heading into North Saline County, that's the strongest. And then we'll go in and we'll go over to the Shreveport radar. And taking a look at that storm, it's headed out of Hempstead County into Nevada County and toward Emmett and Laneburg. It's really difficult to see the rotation there. It doesn't look like a lot of rotation. That's the rotation. But again, it's a long way away. And so we're going to just watch the storm as it moves over into Nevada County and tell you that you are under a severe thunderstorm warning for that storm. All right, and then elsewhere on down to the south, there are more storms that are lining up. But you can see how far down the line of rainfall is extending. And all of that has to come up across the state because this isn't a really progressive system that's going to just push right on through. And so we're going to have rounds of rainfall for tonight. We'll go back to the other source and me here and kind of give you an overview of what's happening. Obviously, the strongest storms are out to the west of Little Rock right now, northeast of Hot Springs Village and moving up to the northeast. These are severe thunderstorm warnings, but we do have one tornado warning within our viewing area, and that's down in Nevada County, right at the southwest corner of the Channel 7 viewing area. And this storm is moving out of Hempstead County, and it's moving up into Nevada County, that appendage hanging down from it right there. We aren't sure that this is producing a tornado, but it does have some winds going away from the Shreveport radar site and toward it over a broader area there as it traverses over into Nevada County. And so they're going to hang on to that tornado warning, and if there's a tornado warning within the Channel 7 viewing area and there is circulation there, we're going to stick with that. But there is some indication there of that wind coming toward the radar site, and that would be southeast of Emmett. Right in there would be the circulation center if we had it. It's continuing up into the county, Highway 371 right there. And that is Highway 53 that it would be crossing out to the east of Emmett. That would be where the circulation center would be. And there's Highway 371 that extends right on down through Nevada County. Prescott, it looks like this will be going just to your southeast. Maybe the small community of Redland gets in on this circulation, but Shreveport National Weather Service is the one that issues for down here, not the Little Rock National Weather Service. And so we'll continue to monitor that. They're also looking at other storms on down into Texas. But for now, anyway, this is going to be a night where a lot of storms are going on. Hopefully they are not wind producing and rain producing, because they're going to be rain producing. They're going to be heavy, heavy rain producers. But we need to get to the point where that tornado threat really starts to die out, and we'll stick around until that happens later on tonight. Overnight tonight, I think there's going to be prolific flooding. I think there's going to be so much rainfall. James showed you a little bit earlier about some rainfall amounts that we might anticipate, but I'll show you again. This is latest model information, and it shows that through Sunday early in the morning, a corridor right through the Little Rock area. Now, that could be a little west of here. It could vary just a little bit, but there could be an additional 7 or 8 plus inches of rain with this. And I know that sounds crazy to even fathom, but it's going to happen because the forward motion of these storms is really slowing down. And you get 2-inch per hour rainfall rates, maybe greater at some points. It doesn't take many hours for the flooding to really kick in. And I will tell you that in most areas here, the ground is, if not completely saturated, pretty much saturated. So we're going to have to watch that very carefully. Excessive rainfall, it is characterized as, because ground can't really hold much more water. Back to our radar we go. And in southeast Arkansas, there's still a tornado warning, but for here in the central part of the state, you can see that area of bowed-out wind that's headed toward Perryville. It's headed toward Y and Bigelow, the western part of Pulaski County, out around Y Mountain, and then on up toward the Conway area as it lifts pretty much off to the north. Velocities showing up there, maybe not quite like they did. Maybe it's starting to lose some of its wind feature. There is some wind, though, with the one up in Enola and Valonia. Not severe thunderstorm warned. At Hot Springs, you've had a lot of rain, along with Fountain Lake and Highway 128 curving back down to Highway 70 there. So this is a big wind producer and severe thunderstorm warned. It's just that the tornado warning is for the storm that now is in Nevada County. And we look at the velocity one more time, and yeah, down to the south of Prescott. I'll move it over so you can see it a little more easily. Right there. If there was circulation with that, it would be right there south of Prescott, and the track of it will take it over Highway 371 as it moves on up into Nevada County.
Sarah, the National Weather Service, Barry, is going to opt when they think the threat down there is really transitioning to more wind. They're going to put a severe thunderstorm warning up into Clark County. So they see the tornado threat really beginning to wane, at least at the current moment. I want to show you Futurecast for the next few hours. This line of storms just does not move. There's just not much forward motion to this thing until in the morning when that round kicks out towards the east, and we start with another round that runs through tomorrow afternoon and into really most of the day. That's where most of our rainfall totals come. We really don't kick the rain out of here until early Sunday, but the heaviest rainfall is tonight and early tomorrow. That's when we could really see quite a bit of rainfall, and unfortunately we'll probably be seeing some flash flooding. We actually have a few reports of flash flooding from the Hot Springs area where we are already seeing the heavy rain just really set up and continue to fall and refuse to move. The heaviest rain now is in a band from Evening Shade down into the eastern section of Stone County, running up through part of Faulkner County. There's a little bit of gap there in the rain, but the heaviest areas of rain continue to set up in a southwest to northeast oriented band. And there you see the very large severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued by the National Weather Service in Little Rock, and that is going to be for the potential of high wind. It includes many counties, and usually our severe storms are moving towards the east, and at this point in the night we'd say it's a few hours and the storms be across the Mississippi River, but these storms really never move out of the state. They just repeatedly move up the I-30 corridor all night. The good news is the ingredients for tornadoes drop. They don't ever go to zero, but they drop, and so at least I think out of this round we're starting to see that tornado threat begin to wane just a little bit, but we'll be watching for segments along the line all night long that could be maybe have some spots of rotation. I'm going to show you some rainfall estimates from just around the state the last couple of days, and then we'll look at kind of what's on the way. This is radar estimated, remember, but this is just from the last few days. We're starting to get some radar estimates, and including tonight, the radar estimates for out in Saline and Garland County and Hot Spring County, they're starting to approach 6, 7, and 8 inches. I think the Little Rock gauge, I'm actually going to pull up the rain gauges and look at what we're dealing with here. But this just gives you a good idea of the rain that is headed our way. We are going to be dealing with probably some spots getting upwards of 5, 6, 7, 8 inches tonight. And so with all the rain that has fallen already and the additional rain headed our way tonight, that is going to cause some major, major issues. All right, I'm looking at some rain gauges. It appears Garland County has had quite a bit of rain, 4 to 6 inches already, and so that's pretty close to what the radar has. Pulaski County, too. Between Maumelle, West Little Rock, North Little Rock, the Air Force Base, I'm looking at a lot of 4-inch totals in those gauges. So Pulaski County, Garland County, Saline County tonight. I expect that that's where most of the flash flooding is tonight. The worst flash flooding kind of in this corridor right here as these storms just repeatedly move over that area right there. And I bet even tomorrow, if we can't get some of this rain out of here in the morning, we may even see a flash flood emergency at some point, and that's just where the water just has nowhere to go and really starts to flood places that just never flood. That is a possibility from the Little Rock area down towards Hot Springs. Barry, the National Weather Service in Shreveport's issued a new tornado warning, and we're still tracking a weak area of rotation that is just to the south of Prescott.
Yeah, the two areas that we're looking at, you said it correctly, south of Prescott, I think this is turning into more of a wind event, but on Highway 371 south of Prescott. And then again, one way down almost into Texas. This is Fouke. And there you can see that's as far south as you can go, way down south of Texarkana. There's over into Texas, and that is the circulation that they're looking at now, which is nowhere near our viewing area, but that is the next tornado warning that eventually might take it up into southwestern Nevada County and the town of Willisville, which is just off to the east of where the tornado warning actually is. But the area that we're looking at still is to the south of Prescott. We're looking at the Shreveport radar right there, and there does seem to be some rotation, although I think there's a lot more rotation or a lot more wind just coming out from this than return winds coming back on the other side. And you're looking for a small area with greens and bright reds are coming together. And I think National Weather Service in Little Rock has said this correctly. There's a lot of wind coming up through Nevada County, but I don't know that the situation is perhaps as conducive to tornadoes as it was. And we're just looking at the radar return on that. And that would be on the leading edge of it, yeah, maybe up toward Redland. But if you're in that area and happen to be watching us from Prescott on off to the east there, go ahead and get into a safe spot in your house, and we'll continue to monitor the tornado warned area. And then National Weather Service in Little Rock has chosen to issue a severe thunderstorm warning for a broad area of all of those wind-producing supercells coming up into the area. But for right now, we do have a tornado warning in our vicinity and circulation that at least has been going on, if not still. And so we're going to stick with it for a while longer. And hopefully we'll be able to send you back into our coverage of programming for later on tonight. In central Arkansas, we have the one severe thunderstorm warning. And it's just this big area that has come up from it's almost moving due south to north, sorry. And it just never gets any closer to Little Rock. And so this area is just getting inundated with rain and the possibility of some wind also. But that is what we're looking at. And I'm afraid we're going to have this as it just crawls off to the east, just areas that get rain after rain after rain. Some lightning and thunder within there. Can't rule out the possibility of tornadoes, but I think that really starts to wane here pretty quickly. I think it's already waning quite a bit. And certainly not those long track tornadoes that we talk about sometimes in a really warm, humid environment with storms way out by themselves. These are not all out by themselves. But I'll give you some perspective on what we're looking at. We've got that cluster of thunderstorms right there, just out to the west of Little Rock, approaching Conway area, eastern Prairie County. Perry County, not Prairie County, Perry County, and western Pulaski County, northern Saline County, and the storm is coming up out of Nevada County. So not a lot going on except a big transition to rain, but for now we're going to continue to watch the tornado warned storm that is within our viewing area. There's another tornado warning that barely takes in some of southwestern Nevada County, but there's no circulation within 45 miles of that. So we will continue to look at the velocity product on this. And to me, it does look like it's a big boat out area of wind and rain, and very little in the way of return. So what is happening is there's a lot of wind with this storm, but still along Highway 371, some indication that there could be some very weak rotation there. And that's what we're going to keep an eye on. And we monitor something off air that we see what the National Weather Service meteorologists, both in Little Rock and in Shreveport, are thinking about these storms. We see the same kinds of things they do, and we have our own opinions on this as well. But they will tell us exactly what they're thinking and what they're planning on doing. And so we'll just continue to keep a watch on it, James. Yeah,
I'm looking at just some of those people you were talking about, the National Weather Service. Down in Shreveport, some emergency managers. The Lafayette County emergency manager looks like they're looking at this, and they may have that circulation. They do not see a tornado down. I do want to tell you that a new tornado watch has been issued, and I'll try to outline the area that was just placed under a watch. There's going to be a few counties that are going to be cleared from this watch here in just a few moments. Out in western Arkansas, north central Arkansas, there's going to be a lot of places that aren't going to be in this new tornado watch. And I think Arkansas and Monroe County as well going to be dropped from the watch. The zone we're watching is really right here overnight, and that's tornado watch is going to be in effect until 4 a.m. We're not asking you to stay up to 4 a.m. to watch the weather because there might be a tornado or two. That's our job. Go to bed. Make sure you have a way to get your warnings. We'll be watching the line of storms. Of course, the part of the line that really seems to be able to rotate the best has been down in southwest Arkansas, and that's where our two current tornado warnings are. We do have some severe thunderstorm warnings out there as well. Though I will tell you, we're probably going to see a lot more flash flood warnings issued as we go through the overnight hours, and I'll just give you an update on where those flash flood warnings currently are. Garland County is in one of those, but we have flash flood warnings across many counties up in North Arkansas, down to the Russellville area, then that one extends out from an earlier one. Expect, though, that Pulaski, Saline, Faulkner, Garland County, we see a flash flood warning at some point tonight for flooded roadways and standing water on roadways with the amount of rain that's just going to continuously fall over and over and over again in the same areas. Here's an update on where the cool air is. It's still 78 at Little Rock due to the storm sitting just towards the west. So you see there's still some warmth out there, and that's why we have the threat of an isolated tornado or two. Let's take a look now at, we'll go up and down the line. We have heavy storms really not advancing too far to the east, but it is raining heavily across most of Cleburne County. Heavily, it's raining in the Batesville area. And now as you look into the Faulkner County area, the rain has gotten a little bit lighter, but I do expect that we're going to see heavier rain get into Faulkner County here in a little bit with the severe thunderstorm warned storm that's coming out of Hot Springs. We'll move through the northern part of Saline County and up into the Conway area, so the rain will get a bit heavier. And it looks like we're starting to fire off some showers here in the Pulaski County area. And Barry, one thing that these big lines of storms can do is push out colder outflow. We were talking about that last night, and I think that's beginning to happen here. That can really limit a tornado threat, but we're still going to be watching the overnight hours for it anyway. The most intense part of the line is back down in southwest Arkansas. Again, the National Weather Service is not going to extend the tornado warning out of Nevada County. Even though there's weak rotation, they think this is mainly going to be a high wind threat that's moving towards Gurdon and eventually up towards Sparkman. So we'll check that real quick. It's very broad, weak rotation. And then the much better looking storm is just headed toward Garland. That's headed towards the Little Red River, or the Red River, I should say, there in Miller County. And that's going to cross US 82 west of Stamps and up towards Patmos. Those areas all under a tornado warning for a circulation that's it seems to be on the most strong part of the line. Back up towards the metro area, again, I think, we're going to get storms. It's going to rain all night long, but that supercell tornado threat where you get those isolated storms out there that could plant big tornadoes, that window has come and gone, and our storms, though they tried, missed their window, thank goodness. So we're really talking about brief, isolated tornadoes tonight along this line, should any occur. But the rain is going to get a lot heavier tonight, and especially, I think, in the I-30 corridor, Garland County, part of Saline County, Pulaski County, Faulkner County. I think that zone in particular, they've gotten the most rain so far. I think we're just really going to add to those totals tonight.
We're remaining vigilant to watch this line of storms as it moves on in and out to the west of Little Rock. This is a large, severe thunderstorm warned area. Right now, I don't even see a lot of wind with that. I think earlier there was quite a bit more wind than that. But this is an area that's moving up to the northeast. It is moving toward Conway, so you're going to have some brief gusty winds. And as I've said maybe before, the ground is so wet, so saturated and soft that even a strong wind gust in a couple of different spots could push over some trees. And so I think that's a possibility of what we're going to be watching, but only because the ground is so wet out there. Got just a line of thunderstorms out across Hot Springs Village on down into southwest Arkansas is the tornado warned storm. James talking about it there, and not a lot in the way of of rotation, I don't think, along with that, but it's moving into northern Nevada County. It will move into the southern part of Clark County and Gurdon along Highway 67, and it turns into a severe thunderstorm warning, not a tornado warning, unless our National Weather Service office sees something that that isn't apparent to us right now. On down to the south, there is one tornado warned storm. It's between Garland and Falk, and that's way down south of Texarkana in Miller County. And that will continue to move up toward our viewing area, and that for places like southwestern Nevada County, but that's a long way, and we'll see if indeed that rotation makes it all the way up here. So we're looking at just really a couple of areas, and then a whole lot of the state where it has not rained. And slowly the rain will start to move into that area. There'll be a lot of resistance. It's going to take a while, though, to get to southeast Arkansas. You're going to have a pretty quiet night down in the southeastern corner of the state, but for us, it's going to be a noisy night. There is some wind potential, maybe for a few hours, an isolated tornado potential along with this, but I just don't think it's that great, although the warm air is still in place out in advance of this. So we're really watching these storms that are continue to fire up out of the southwestern part of Arkansas, kind of the leading edge of those, and just for a little while. But the tornado threat overall should start to diminish as the flood threat really starts to move up and up and up. Other showers and thunderstorms moving up into the northeastern part of the state, those really aren't moving eastward very fast at all. And they're going to kind of stop and join up with the storms that are here into a corridor of just super heavy rainfall. And I think flooding is a real threat, not only tonight and through the overnight and into tomorrow, and maybe even into tomorrow afternoon in a couple of spots until the whole system gets out of here. It's not going to be a great weekend, folks. Temperatures will be falling through the day tomorrow. A lot of rain in the morning, even lingering into the afternoon, and for some into the evening. And then starting to go away on Sunday, but it'll be a whole lot colder outside with temperatures only maybe making it to the low 50s and probably staying in the upper 40s on Sunday as we head into that day. All right, the storms coming out of Nevada County are moving on up, and there is, even though it's a long way, maybe just to the northeast of Prescott, there could be a little bit of rotation with that as it moves on up and crosses into Clark County. And that's something that we're going to watch. We'll look at the radar presentation of that. You can see that little bit of a curl right there. So it's just northeast of Prescott, and then moving to the northeast. These storms moving not as fast as they were. On down, there is one more tornado warning into Miller County, and the National Weather Service in Shreveport is still looking at that. We're looking at the National Weather Service in Little Rock, and I just want to talk about this for a second. There are some storms that appear to be increasing out to the east of the Little Rock area. Well, I showed you those right out there, but we'll see what they can develop into if that's more of a wind threat. But that's something we're going to watch very carefully over the next few hours. I don't see much in the way of anything but wind with them, but we'll watch for the possibility of any little bit of rotation along there. James, it would be so great if we could just get this through, but it's not really going to go through our state tonight.
It's going to stall out, and so the flash flood warnings continue to be issued. They've just added Faulkner County, White County, all of Cleburne County, Independence County, all to the latest version of the flash flood warning, and it's going to go pretty much all night long, and maybe even into most of tomorrow. So that's the newest warning. This one goes till midnight. You'll likely see them expanded. If you don't live in a flash flood prone area, you'll be getting, there's a potential even that you get standing water on roadways where you normally don't get flooding just because of the amount of rain that's going to fall tonight. So this area's seen 1 to 3 inches of rain over the last few hours. It's seen several inches of rain over the last few days. And that is the main concern with the flooding threat. And while Pulaski County, Saline County not under a flash flood warning just yet, the threat for flooding does go up as we go towards really late overnight and into the early time period tomorrow. the forward progression of the line has really slowed up in northeast Arkansas, and that's good news for all of you that are in Independence County, Cave City, Cushman, Newport, Diaz, Swifton. I don't know how much further south this line is going to make it within the next hour. I think it's going to take quite a while for this line to really advance at all. So you're going to be expecting very, very heavy rain, and also the possibility that we could have some isolated severe weather along the line. But remember, significant long-track tornadoes don't come from big lines of storm like this. They come from supercells like what we had earlier, and most of them today failed to produce a tornado. Certainly a good sign. It's been a much better day than I thought it would be. Back towards Little Rock, we've had one area of rain go through the Little Rock area, but now we have some heavier rain building back towards the west, and that's moving northeast towards Chenal Mountain, eventually towards the Conway area. Still, the two strongest storms in the state remain over southwest Arkansas, and that's going to be coming up into Clark County. The Gurdon area is about to get slammed with heavy rain. We think the tornado threat with this particular cell is completely gone. So there's still Prescott, Bluff City, you're under a tornado warning, but the tornado threat really, I mean, that's an extremely broad area of rotation. And the National Weather Service in Little Rock does not feel like they're going to extend that tornado warning. So don't feel like that's going to continue for those of you in the southern part of Clark County. As we go back down further towards the southwest, the storm that has been in Miller County moving towards Garland, still has some rotation to it, but it looks a lot more to me like it's a big push of wind. There's not as much tightness in there. It's spread out quite a bit. So we're looking at wind pushing towards Garland, and then Patmos and Stamps. And that tornado warning just includes a very small corridor of southwest Nevada County. And otherwise, Barry, I think the tornado threat, at least for the minute, seems to have waned quite a bit. This is really going towards a wind and flood threat.
Yeah, I agree. Even that one in far southwest Arkansas has really died down quite a bit. But we're going to watch this for just a few more minutes coming out of Nevada County with the circulation there, what's left of it, moving up just south of Gurdon on Highway 53 and up into Clark County. That'll be replaced with the severe thunderstorm warning. And our National Weather Service will continue to keep a close watch on that storm as it moves up here. An overview of the state shows that other thunderstorm in southwest most Arkansas, Miller County. And I just don't think that has quite the velocity signature that it had just a little bit ago. In fact, every subsequent scan looks like it's just a big wind push there. So hopefully and I believe the National Weather Service in Shreveport will agree with that probably. And then we'll watch the storms out to the west of the Little Rock area there. Some coming up out of Hot Springs Village with another wind component, but that is just heavy rain that has gone over that same area. And I'm getting a little bit more worried about northern Saline County, western Pulaski County, back into Garland County with just wave after wave of now fairly slow-moving, heavy rainfall. That is our biggest threat. Even if there are a few small tornadoes, lake flooding is our biggest threat as we head through the nighttime hours. And so we're going to keep a close watch on those storms, but just look over the last little bit how these storms have gone through that area and gone through and now another area, and it really hasn't rained much here in the Little Rock area. So there is an axis of heavy rain that is setting